Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Chris Schad. I'm a writer for the Viking Age Zone Coverage, Bring Me the News, and the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, and we do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. Adam, so what do you want to talk about?
Big news today, big departure. Marcus Davenport leaving and going to the Lions. It was a good experiment, but I think the Vikings are going to recover and they're heading in a different direction. They just couldn't reach the proper negotiations. The Vikings weren't meeting where Davenport wanted to meet in terms of contract details, but I think the Vikings will be okay.
I think they will too. I'm sure there was another free agent that we forgot. Oh, I haven't.
Who
Who could that be? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, or I should say, the Kirk Cousins era is over in Minnesota, as
to quote
he
Vince
agreed.
Carter or Kenny Smith, I guess. It's
Kenny.
over
Oh,
from
Kenny.
the Vince Carter dunk contest.
Yes.
You remember
that? Yes, I
Dating
do.
myself.
Very much so. But that's okay. That's what we do on this show. That's what happens when you're about 40 years old. Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons agreed to a 4-year, $180 million contract this afternoon. It contains $100 million guaranteed, $90 million guaranteed at signing, a $10 million injury guarantee in 2026, and most importantly, a $2 million incentive for winning the Super Bowl. I guess it was about the dollars, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it's always been about the dollars. I don't know why I don't even know really what he was trying to say with that when he was saying, it's not about the dollars, because it clearly is. It's about the dollars. He was talking about respect, I guess, in terms of what the dollars represent, and that was his way of referring to, I deserve guaranteed money or whatever, and clearly the Vikings are like, no, you don't. So he got what he wanted from the Falcons. Good luck to him and his family down there. They're closer to their actual hometown in Atlanta. It's at least his wife's hometown, and then I believe his parents live probably closer in Florida, so it's not too far. But he gets to go down there. He gets to make a lot of money. I think he's going to be one of the highest paid players in NFL history once this deal is done. Close to
second.
Second.
He's second all time in NFL history after this contract.
Wow. I think I saw a headline, referring back to Marcus Davenport about how, I think it was a headline, Marcus Davenport is leaving Minnesota to steal money from Detroit, and I was like, Marcus Davenport stealing money? What would you call Kirk Cousins for the last 6 years? Because he made a nice, pretty penny to play for the Vikings and lead them to one playoff win, but it didn't work out. The Vikings and Cousins are in two different spots. The Vikings are trying to build for the future, get younger at quarterback, try and take advantage of that rookie quarterback contract. Kirk Cousins still wants to play, and it seems like till he's around 40, he still wants to get paid, and the Falcons were willing to do that. So more power to Kirk and his agent for getting that deal done. I mean, they got to be putting, at least his agent has to be put in the Hall of Fame or some sort of award for getting this guy this much money. So congrats to them, but for the Vikings, it's like it's just the beginning, I feel like, of this journey we're about to go on, where it probably should have started maybe a year or two ago, but finally we're at this point where the Vikings can kind of start over and kind of build, I want to say, a Kevin O'Connell team, because we still really haven't seen what a team like that looks like. We kind of saw last year with some guys mixed in that he brought in and wanted to use, and Cam Akers and stuff like that. But I'm very curious to see what direction they go in. I know people are probably worried because they've seen the Sam Darnold rumors, but if they're bringing him in, it's not to be the starter. It's to be either he'll start off as the starter, or maybe not even, but more of just to help whatever rookie they draft adjust to the NFL. And he's got that connection to Josh McCown, so it makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, end of an era for the Vikings. Looking forward to the Falcons and Vikings game next year. Looking forward to the Falcons and Cowboys game next year, which will feature Mike Zimmer's defense against Kirk Cousins. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about the future of the Vikings. I'm glad they did this. I didn't know if it was going to happen. It seemed a little iffy in there, but it seemed like that was more of a ploy by Cousins' team to maybe get a little more money out of the Falcons, being like, "Oh, we might go back to the Vikings. We might go back," but he's gone, and I think it's good. I think we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
Before I get into my thoughts here, I just want to say, Kirk has been great. He's been a great representative of the organization and the community. Seems like a super good guy. We saw that during the quarterback docuseries on Netflix, and everything kind of went from there. That being said, to quote Drew McIntyre, I prayed for this and it happened. He's gone. And again, this has nothing to do with the human being. Like whatever. I mean, I'm sure Kirk's a great guy. Everybody seems to love him. He's going around and everything else. But the last month has driven me insane. Mike McCartney, you mentioned it a little bit. That dude needs to be in the Hall of Fame for getting you said it to me the other day. You texted me and you said, why am I refreshing Twitter constantly every 5 minutes for a mid quarterback?
Oh no.
That is basically what we've done over the past 2 days. We've just waited to see, oh my God, what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins? Is he going to take a hometown discount or whatever? Which he never said during that quote. I'm going to say that again, because the only time it was said was when Kevin Seifert asked him about it. And he went on about, it's not about the dollars, it's what they represent. Cool little flashy quote there, Kirk. Go start your Wu-Tang album or whatever the hell you're going to do after you bank in another $180 million.
He's going to ATL now, so
yeah, he's probably got ATM in his house, just whenever he needs it.
Is he gonna go to Magic City?
Like this is, it's liberating. It's free. I am more excited than Adam Thielen during an interview. Like, hey, what do you think of Sheboygan hot dogs, Adam? Well, I'm super excited, and, I'm Minnesota, and I love this Minnesota company and whatever. I mean, I'm not even mad at Kirk. I'm really not. $180 million, go take it. Go get your money. Go get $100 million, because there's two things at play here. One, you weren't getting that offer from the Vikings. I think I saw somebody, and they probably just made it up, but like 2 years, $76 million I saw floating out there this morning. Like, obviously, that's not going to get it done when somebody's offering 4. Also, what the hell are the Falcons doing? 4 years. He's 30. He'll turn 36 in August. He has a torn Achilles. What are you doing? I don't care if your owner is 85 or whatever the hell he is, and he's going to die before that contract runs out. Like, seriously, he is not the answer to your problems. If you're a Falcon fan and you're watching this right now, run. Like, seriously, run. I saw somebody standing out front in Mercedes-Benz stadium with a Deion Sanders jersey and a bucket of gasoline. Burn the damn thing to the ground, because you know what you're going to do the next couple of years? You're going to go 9-8 or 10-7, and you're going to win the division. Yeah, you're going to get to the playoffs, and hell, he's better than Desmond Ridder. He's better than half the quarterbacks in this league. But I mean, the problem is he doesn't elevate anyone. You probably have the wrong peanut butter in the cafeteria right now for Kirk Cousins to win you a Super Bowl. That's been his game the entire time in Minnesota. He's won 1 playoff game in 6 seasons in Minnesota. And the one time he had his brilliant season, 4th and 8, he checked down to TJ Hawkinson. So, I know there's a lot of people going through a hard time right now, and I know some of them don't drink, but I just want you to know that I'm going to drink for all of you to celebrate.
Cheers. I'll do you one better. He has 1 playoff win in his entire 12-year career, not even just with the Vikings.
But I mean, It's the
doesn't
Dumb
matter
and
his bank
Dumber meme
account.
where they're crying with all the money on the bed and they're
Yeah.
wiping tears with like hundreds. Like that's basically Kirk Cousins' career.
And I think the Falcons contract, to be fair, is more like I think it's more 2 years, around 100. It's a bunch of funny money. So they can probably get out of it after 2 years. But still, what are you doing giving Kirk Cousins, around 50 million a year coming off a torn Achilles? Going to be 36. It's just it's not smart, and it's not like they had a ton more. Like I always enjoyed, like, oh, the Falcons have all this money to give Kirk Cousins. They didn't really have much more money, barely more money than the Vikings in terms of cap space when all this was going down. But they also didn't have to add pieces to as many pieces to their defense, or they've got a number one receiver, they've got a number one tight end, they've got Bijan Robinson, they've got a solid offensive line. So they really do have a lot of pieces already for them to just insert Kirk Cousins in there. But is like you said, is he going to be the guy to elevate them? It'll be interesting to see because he's going to be working with another coordinator from the Sean McVay tree. And I'm sure Kevin O'Connell and Zach Robinson, the Falcons offensive coordinator, are going to be texting a little bit this summer, maybe having some conversations about, how do I get the most out of Kirk Cousins? And Kevin O'Connell's going to be like, pray. So yeah, I just I'm it's a just it's a big day in Vikings history. Like if you think about it, like this whether it's the start of a bunch of years where they suck, which I don't think is going to happen, or the start of them, being traveling more towards turning into a contender again, which I felt like they were on that path when Mike Zimmer got here, and he, you know, got a young quarterback, signed a bunch of defensive free agents. Oh, what are they doing today? Oh, they're signing a bunch of defensive free agents, and they're in contention to get a young quarterback this year if they want to trade up, or if they don't want to trade up. But yeah, I'm excited about this future of the team to see where it's headed. I feel good about it. If they re-signed Kirk Cousins, I wouldn't feel good about this team at all. I don't think it would have been a good decision, but they didn't. They let him go. So I'm pumped. Let's go.
I'm looking at the comments here, and if you got some, I mean, it's a big day. Speak up. We'll run through them as we go through the show here. But Grady Hughes, he's commenting right now. He goes, honestly, anyone other than Darnold, ugh.
Not gonna be the starter. Not gonna be the starter.
I want you to listen closely to me, Grady. And I said this on Friday when I did our free agency preview, and I used the example of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And just kind of paraphrasing here, last year, Cody Rhodes did not finish the story at WrestleMania. Everybody was pissed. Roman Reigns got on the podium and said, hey, this is not fast food. This is filet mignon. You're going to have to pay attention for more than 30 seconds here. Now year later, Cody Rhodes is challenging for the title. Everybody's super excited about it. That is the method the Vikings need to take with this quarterback situation. If you see Sam Darnold sign with the Vikings, don't freak out, because could he start in 2024? Yeah, he could be a start. You could start Nick Mullins for all I care in 2024. I don't give a piss about 2024, to be honest with you. I know the Vikings do and everybody else in TCO Performance Center does, but like seriously, this is not about 2024. This is about 2025, 2026, 2027, everything. The Vikings are 100% trading up for a quarterback. And if they're not doing that, they're at least going to trade back and maybe get Michael Penix, which I don't really like. But I mean, after letting Kirk Cousins walk, I think you really, you kind of open Pandora's box here. You better have a plan. And if you like Drake May, if you like JJ McCarthy, you have to go get him at this point. So don't freak out if Sam Darnold signs with the Vikings and, oh, we're replacing Kirk Cousins with Sam Darnold. You need to have a bigger, wider lens of this whole situation.
When you could probably compare it to when just recently, when in terms of wrestling, when Cody Rhodes won the Rumble, and then he came out and he was like, oh, The Rock's gonna face Roman, and everyone's like freaking out, and I'm pretty sure they changed everything, but they're all like, oh, just have patience, wait, let it play out. So we're asking to do something similar. Obviously, I think they probably realized they made a mistake, so it's a little bit of a different situation. But yeah, I agree. Like let everything play out. The Vikings aren't going to draft anyone tomorrow. Drafts end of April, so they could trade for a pick maybe this week. That'd probably be the smarter thing to do sooner than later. But yeah, if they sign Sam Darnold. Um, I will say if they trade for Justin Fields, yeah, I'm not gonna be happy about that. I will I
No,
will I will say that because one, you would be giving up draft capital that which you still need, for someone that might not even be better than Sam Darnold. Um, so it's been interesting to watch all the other teams today sign, quarterbacks, or in the last 2 days with the Steelers getting Russell Wilson and even Gardner Minshew going to the Raiders, Cousins going to the Falcons. It's like, where's Justin Fields gonna play next year? Because I don't think it's not gonna be Chicago. I don't think so, but, we'll
options
see.
are running out.
They are.
Like, you got Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. You got Gardner. Where did Gardner Minshew sign? Vegas
The Raiders, yeah.
Raiders. I've kind of been in and out all day. I mean, one of our writers, Adam Carlson, has been freaking out about Ryan Tannehill. I
I
honestly,
don't I don't yeah.
I wouldn't hate it. Like I would take Tannehill over Sam Darnold if we're going in that
Mhm.
direction for bridge quarterback. But they got to react quickly here because like options are drying up unless you're just gonna say, all right, we're trading up, we're getting number 3, and we're gonna go get Drake May and start him from day one. And by the way, the Vikings have never started a rookie quarterback week 1 in their franchise history. The only time rookie quarterback has seen the field in week 1 was their first game ever, where I can't remember who the name of the quarterback that started, but Fran Tarkington came in relief, and he finished the game. So that was it.
A lot of some of the best quarterbacks, they like Mahomes, I guess you could say Rodgers still, Josh Allen, they all sat at least to start their rookie year, if not the whole year. Look at Jordan Love too. That's a little too long, probably. Um, but a lot of the best quarterbacks in the league right now sat for a little bit to kind of just figure out what's going on in the NFL. So I wouldn't be opposed to them getting someone like a Tannehill and having him play for probably most of next season, and then letting the rookie go in at the end and try and figure things out. But Kevin O'Connell was brought to the Vikings to pretty much do this, get a quarterback, develop him. So right now he gets to prove his worth, and we'll see if he's you know, good at what he says he is.
So free agent options aside, who are you taking in the draft? Like if you're pounding the table, if you're Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who is the quarterback you're going all in for?
I think they like Drake May. I think the addition of McCown to their quarterback staff just made it obvious. He coached him in high school. Um, Drake May, I believe, afterwards raved at the combine like about his meeting with Kevin O'Connell and McCown in the meeting room. So it's clear that they like him, and I think there's been reports that they like him as well. Um, and he's got what, a big arm. He's got a ton of athleticism. I think the Vikings, what Kevin O'Connell wants, even though it looked like he kind of got a little frustrated last year with like Josh Dobbs being mobile and everything. But that's just because Josh Dobbs couldn't do really anything else. He could just run around and do like playground football. But not McConnell. Wow, O'Connell would like a quarterback who's mobile and can create things on the fly, kind of like a Mahomes. Not comparing Drake May to Mahomes, but someone who can get out of trouble and create things on the fly. I think JJ McCarthy is someone who can do that too. And obviously we know that they like him. Um, but I think what the Athletics Chad Graff, who used to cover the Vikings, covers the Patriots now, threw out the idea of the Patriots trading the number 3 pick to the Vikings, and I think that's probably a decent possibility of happening.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are thinking between Drake May and JJ McCarthy. I think those are the two that they have to consider. If they trade up to 3, sorry, my phone is ringing
And
here.
the Giants just made a trade too. They traded for Brian Burns, so I don't know if they have enough capital now to even trade up because they're pick number 6.
Yeah, I believe they traded a 2nd and a 6th.
All right.
Hey, good thing David Tepper vetoed that deal with what, 3 or
2020.
4 first round picks from The Rams.
Yeah. Well, according to Thielen, they're going to win the Super Bowl. So
They're on their way as they tear everything down for the 5th straight year. Might have wanted to do a little bit more research before you took the money there. Don't you think? But
David Tepper's good at tearing things down. So.
And throwing drinks at fans, but that's another story we can talk about later. No, I think McCarthy and May is really the debate here. And if they really like Penix, I mean, I wouldn't take Penix at 11. I think that would be a disaster waiting to happen. But if you trade up for May, it's going to cost you a couple first-round picks. But I mean, at this point, like the Vikings are filling holes. Like, look at the first day of free agency. They are doing a hell of a job on the defensive end. They signed Jonathan Grenard for a 4-year, $76 million deal. Andrew Van Ginkel got a 2-year, $20 million deal. Both of those guys are really good edge rushers. Van Ginkel might be more of a kind of secondary role guy.
He's South Dakota, right?
I don't know where he's from, but I know he went to school in Wisconsin, at Wisconsin rather. But
I think I saw something today where he's from, or he went to school in one of the Dakotas.
I will have to look into that as a South Dakota journalist. But and you also got Blake Cashman,
he went
former
to Wisconsin.
Gopher.
Sorry.
Yeah, what's that?
He went to Wisconsin. You're right.
Van Ginkel did.
Yeah, he's from Iowa.
Blake Cashman's a Gopher. Don't offend people like that.
Yes. Oh no.
That we couldn't even have a dude named Bucky on our team without people getting all upset. Like Bucky Irving and PJ Flex, like, oh, we got to call you Bucko or something. We can't have that. Okay, whatever. No, but I mean, you look at what they're doing. They're patching holes and whatever. Like the quarterback might be the missing piece out of this whole equation. And if you trade up, you get Drake May, who has that potential. He's got the big rocket arm. Even JJ McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy is ready to start day one in the NFL, but he's 21 years old and he just turned 21. So, I mean, there's tools there. He can throw on the run. He's got a pretty big arm. A lot of people have kind of crapped on him because they didn't use him at Michigan, but their running game was elite. Give me 1 second here. My doorbell just rang. I have to go get it.
All right. Oh, who's excited? Who's excited about the future? Kirk Cousins no longer with the Falcons. Is that game against the Vikings? Is that going to be opening week? Is that going to be a week 1 game for the Vikings? Kirk Cousins back to Minnesota week 1. What do we got? Oh boy, what do we got?
All right. Yeah, it's been a pretty busy day for me. And I decided to order some pizza. I figured this was a great little deal here. So don't mind me. I'm just going to have a slice while we're eating. It did come a little. Those Pizza Ranch employees, they're super fast, As potential sponsor, I would love to sponsor some Pizza Ranch. But let's see. All right. What were you talking about?
I was talking about how the Kirk Cousins or the Falcons, Vikings, how they're playing next year. That's gonna be the week 1 game, right? It's gotta be, right?
Kirk Vikings, Falcons?
Yeah, back to Minnesota.
Oh, for sure. Unless they have it as the London game, that's a possibility.
That would be so annoying. You can't do. They can't do that. I feel like aren't teams allowed to block certain games from going to London? I feel like they might be able to do that.
I feel like. Excuse me. I promise I will only eat 1 slice on here, but
what do we got on there, by the way?
I like a lot of things on my pizza. I got some sausage, some pepperoni, some red onion, a little bit of mushroom. Pretty basic, but not bad.
Yeah.
Actually, it's great if Pizza Ranch wants to sponsor us. I'd give it 5 stars in that scenario. But Kirk and Kevin, I understand why they hung out at the ranch all the time now. So. Great stuff. What were we talking about before I dove into this pizza?
I don't know. We were talking about the free agents the Vikings had today, and how they're spending money on, and specifically on defense. I think they didn't add a corner. They added 2 pass rushers, a linebacker, and oh boy.
I'm almost done. I'm muting because I don't want my chewing on the mic.
Right. That's a thing. People have like a phobia or whatever where they hear people chewing. It's a problem. But yeah, so looking ahead, I feel like the Vikings tomorrow. I would hope that I heard they were maybe in on Saquon Barkley today. Saw that rumor somewhere on Twitter. Aaron Jones just got released by the Packers. That would be interesting if the Vikings could pick him up. I think I saw they were in on Tony Pollard too, but he ended up with what? Who, the Titans? Did he go to the Titans? Um, so I'm curious to see what the Vikings do tomorrow. I don't know how much money they have left at this point. And then Daniil Hunter, where's he gonna go?
Right.
He can't be coming back now after they decided those two guys, right?
Right. I mean, you would be spending an awful lot of money, and I mean, do you really want to blow everything? Like here's the thing with the Grenard signing. We'll start there. 4 years, 76 million, like I mentioned. He is a very good pass rusher. I know some people were kind of like, who is this guy? We don't know who he is. 12 and a half sacks last year for Houston. Played well next to Blake Cashman, who the Vikings also signed. The thing with Grenard is his pass rush win rate is very high by ESPN standards. I think it was 6th in the NFL. You guys got guys like Jadeveon Clowney, JJ Watt, some other top end edge rushers there. But you also have, Daniil Hunter was not on that list. He was not in the top 20. Andrew Van Ginkel was on that list, and he was 20th. If you look at PFF, Andrew Van Ginkel, I'll get used to saying it in a while. He was ninth among all edge rushers in pass rush win rate last season. I just wrote an article about that over at Zone Coverage that will go out on Tuesday morning. But the thing with the Vikings is they need to find guys that can create pressure without blitzing. The Vikings had the highest blitz rate in the NFL. Their pressure rate, it was in the middle of the pack. I believe it was 15th or something. So Grenard produced in a defense that did not blitz. I think the Texans had the 5th lowest blitz rate in the NFL last season, but also the 5th highest pressure rate last season, according to Pro Football Reference. So I mean, when you look at a guy, you can get him for $476. He's 4 years younger than Daniil Hunter. You're basically paying the same amount of money that Hunter got paid last season, and you could even get the same production out of him. I mean, Daniil Hunter, he had 16 and a half sacks for the Vikings, and I believe he had 27% of their pressures last season, which is insane just for one player. Like Brian Flores wants weapons everywhere. He wants to create pressure from everywhere. You have Ivan Pace. He was 2nd in pass rush win rate, according to PFF. Blake Cashman has an 11% win rate as the other linebacker. Now you have Van Ginkel and Grenard at the edges. So, I mean, I like what they did on defense today. And, there might not be another move or two coming. They still need a corner. Yep. I think that might be corner and defensive line. I think those are the two edges they need.
Left guard.
In left guard, they got to make a decision there, but they could also draft somebody at left guard and it would work out there as well.
Yeah, it seems like they want the defense to kind of do a better job at creating pressure on their own, so they don't have to leave their corners kind of just on an island every time they want to send pressure, because they have to send everybody to get pressure. They'll still, I'm still gonna assume Brian Flores is gonna have some crazy looks or whatever, especially on 3rd down, but some of those blitz packages on like 1st and 2nd down, we might see him be a little bit more conservative to see if some of those guys can just create pressure if he can create pressure with 4 or 5 guys instead of 6 or 7. So yeah, I like what they did today. The Grenard signing kind of reminds me of, remember when Everson Griffin got extended? I think it was 2014 when Zimmer got hired, and he wasn't even a starter yet. They gave him a bunch of money, and people are like, what are they doing? Like, why are they extending it? They got rid of Jared Allen, and they're extending Everson Griffin? What are they doing? And then Everson Griffin went on to be like one of the most prolific pass rushers in Vikings history. So I kind of get similar vibes from this Grenard signing. I feel like he's might be further along in his progression or development than Griffin was when he got extended. But he's coming from a good defense, with D'Amico Ryans. So if he's able to do well in that kind of defense, then I kind of have a bunch of faith that he'll be able to do well in Brian Flores defense. So yeah, I like what they did a lot. And yeah, I think running back tomorrow, probably backup quarterback. I mean, just not tomorrow, but just in the near future.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they, I know he's the best number 3 tight end in the league or whatever, but I'm surprised they brought back Johnny Mundt because I feel like they need to maybe worry about PJ Hawkinson. He's going to come back later in the season. He's expected to probably miss the first month, and then it's going to take him a little bit probably to get into football shape or whatever.
Do you think it was a vote of confidence in his rehab, though?
Oh yeah, that could be. That could be. But when did he get hurt? Like
He got hurt Christmas Eve.
week 16? What's that? Yeah, week 16, right?
Week 7 or 16, yeah.
Yeah,
17, 18.
because they played the Packers the week after. So yeah, I would like to. I don't know. Maybe they'll draft somebody and use him. But they signed Nick Muse too, so I guess they're just running it back with Josh Oliver and Johnny Munt, and they're going to do lots of rollouts and that same tight end route that they did for every tight end last year, where it's the play action rollout and pass 3 yards in front of you. Just a classic. I think Kyle Rudolph used to run that all the time too, and I used to really enjoy that. Him getting 3 yards on a catch. It was lots of fun. But no, I'm pleased with what they did. But yeah, I don't know. I think the signings. I don't think Jordan Hicks is going to come back anymore with the addition of Blake Cashman. I don't think that's what they want to do. It seems like they want to get younger. Like they want to add guys with experience, but they want them to be younger, have a little bit less tread on their tires than some of the guys they had last year. So that makes me curious about maybe what they're going to do with Harrison Smith, because he's not getting younger and he's pretty expensive next year. So
how exciting is this?
It's fun.
Yeah,
right?
Right. All these years.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, you had Kirk Cousins in there, and he jammed up that much cap space. And by the way, let's talk about this. Like, do you think the Kirk Cousins thing was a failure? Because I've seen that kind of floating around. Some people are wondering, hey, was it worth it? Was it worth all of the money and the financial gymnastics and stuff? When we're talking about free agency, it used to be, can't really move money around, so let's go sign Rashad Breeland, or let's go sign
D.D. Westbrook.
Samar Steffens. Yeah, D.D. Westbrook, or there's probably other guys I can't even think of right now. Like, the fact they have all this flexibility, and the fact, somebody else is probably going to play quarterback for the Vikings next year, even if it is Sam Darnold, and then you have a rookie behind him. That's fun. That's exciting to me. The last 3 or 4 years, the Vikings have been the same stale old team. And if they would have brought Kirk Cousins back, you would have had the same situation again where, let's hope we get to the playoffs, and if things go right, we can make a run. But
has it been a failure? I think if you just like to root for the Vikings and just enjoy watching them have fun or whatever, and it's okay if they don't win the Super Bowl or get far in the playoffs, and no, it wasn't a failure. But I'll just ask you, what was Kirk Cousins brought here in 2018 to do?
Sorry, win the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, did they do that in his 6 years?
They did not.
Oh, so they would be
code words that year, and
that would be a failure. He was brought here. I know some people are like, "Oh no, he wasn't. He just wanted to be better than Case." No, he was brought here. They went to the NFC Championship. They brought Kirk Cousins in because they felt he was better than Case Keenum, which, yeah, that's pretty true. To get them at least to the Super Bowl. And during his 6 years, he couldn't get them past the divisional round, and he only made it there once. So in that sense, yes, it was a failure. Was it a failure for Kirk? Have you seen his bank account? No, I don't think it was. I think he had a lot of fun. I think there's still you can still look back on his time with the Vikings fondly, but in terms of on-field success and the standings and everything, no, it wasn't a success at all. So that's why the Vikings are moving on, and they're trying to take a different route and try something else to maybe get to that level where they were trying to get with Kirk Cousins. But I don't know. I don't think that was not a success.
I would say, I think it really got marred by the fact that they held on too long. Yeah. Like, I will be steadfast in this, that 2020 playoff win in New Orleans it was 2019 season, but it happened in 2020.
Yeah.
That did more harm than good. because coming into that game, there were a lot of questions about the future of the Vikings, where, are they going to fire Mike Zimmer and promote Kevin Stefanski? Is George Payton going to take over as general manager? Is Kirk Cousins going to get an extension? There were a lot of questions regarding, the whole future of the Vikings. And, it got to a point where they win that playoff game. Kyle Rudolph pushes off in the end zone. Sorry, the truth hurts. But they go to San Francisco, they get steamrolled, and they just never adapted. Like everybody could see back in 2019 that they needed to change some things in order to, get things going. And they tried some stuff. They tried going with a younger roster.
Yeah,
they tried, they whiffed on those draft picks, but the constant remained. It was Kirk Cousins. And I know, in 2022, they win 13 games. Everybody's happy. Everybody's running on vibes. They get to the playoffs. They need Kirk more than ever. He checks down on 4th and 8. I think more than anything, like you obviously have 2018. I think that's probably the biggest thing. The second biggest thing is that moment checking down to TJ Hawkinson, because you had a team. I know they were running on vibes. They weren't going to win the Super Bowl, but that was Kirk's best chance to cement himself like, I'm that dude. And I know too, people will say, well, if he didn't tear his Achilles, maybe he would have stayed or whatever. Are we sure about that now? Like really, because the Vikings went in. I mean, if they go to the divisional round last year, let's just say that, because he's never gotten past that. So let's say the Vikings run on vibes again. They go to the divisional round. Kirk Cousins looks good, goes to free agent, sits down at a negotiating table like, I really like you guys. I will take your offer. No, he's going to see, he's going to get, hey, it's Arthur Blank on the phone. What's up? Blank check, baby. Oh, okay. So, yeah. I mean, his legacy as Vikings quarterback is the head of the negotiating table. He'll be set. I believe he's second in passing yards. He's at the top of all the all-time lists or whatever. He's the head of the negotiating table.
I think
him.
You also got to look at it like you look at the other teams in the NFC, like that went far in the playoffs last year, the Niners and the Lions. Like, if the Vikings bring Kirk Cousins back, are they able? Do you feel like they can beat those two teams? No. I don't think so. They still have so much work to do, whether they bring Kirk Cousins back or not, to get to that level. It's weird to get to that level of the Lions, which is weird to say, and beat them. So yeah, I think once again, I think they made the right choice. It would feel like treading water, going in that, circle of death that we always talk about. It's never ending with, it seemed like, Kirk Cousins. I'm just kind of I'm looking forward to seeing how, Vikings Twitter is always going to argue and stuff, but just like not having that central figure, I feel like, he's in the middle. People over here don't really like him. People over here just adore him and love everything that he does. He's gone now, so we'll find something else to argue about, I'm sure, especially if they, get off to a rough start next year. But it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be more enjoyable. I don't know. We'll see.
I want to point out one thing before we get going here, and that's from Stratford Sabercats Trek Club. First of all, thank you for commenting. We appreciate it. I would agree that it wasn't a success, talking about the Kirk Cousins era. However, can't be upset with Jefferson's development during Cousins' time. Mixed bag, happy for a new chapter. Okay, Justin Jefferson was going to catch touchdowns from whoever was. That dude had 1,000 yards with Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall, and Josh Dobbs throwing him the ball. I don't think he played with Dobbs, though. I think Dobbs.
Yeah, he did. He got the medicine ball.
Oh, that's right. The one in Vegas. Yeah. So he played for like a quarter.
And then Jefferson was like, I'm not playing for him.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this. Like, this is the thing. Now people are like, well, is Justin going to ask for a trade? That's his guy. Yeah. Like, has anybody checked on Kevin O'Connell, by the way?
Right. He's got the framed jersey in his office.
Just staring at the framed jersey, eating Pizza Ranch like me.
Just talk this year about how like their families are close and everything. And that's the funny thing too about a lot of these, the people that really like Kirk Cousins over the years, just like kind of more than the Vikings, and how they're they felt betrayed the last, especially today. They're like, it was all about the money. And people like you and me are sitting here like, yeah, it's always been about the money. And we've always said too, like more power to him. He's in a unique opportunity. Go get as much money as you can. Are we ever going to see someone in the history of the NFL make this much money with one playoff win? Probably not. So
No. I mean,
like,
again, Mike McCartney, Hall of Fame.
yeah.
Hey, he's got my vote. Like, honestly, just
If I needed an agent, if I was in the NFL or like my kid comes up and he's playing football, I want him to be my kid's agent for sure.
rookies, call him up.
Oh,
Be like,
yeah.
how do I get CJ Stroud said he met Kirk Cousins, says he was a great guy. I mean, if I ever met Kirk Cousins, I was a young player. Like, how do I get Mike McCartney as my agent? Like,
Right.
seriously, like,
I think Josh McCown was his, or might even still be his agent.
yeah,
but
he is.
he was his agent when he was a player, and look, he probably stayed in the league longer than he probably should have. Played for what, 12 teams. So yeah, Mike McCartney. God, he's good at what he does.
Well, let's close this out here. Obviously, with Kirk Cousins leaving, a lot of speculation. What's going on at the Viking age, man?
Oh, well, let's see. We put out a mock draft yesterday, pre-free agency, so we didn't really know if Kirk Cousins was going to leave or not. But I believe Luke Parrish from the Viking Age, he wrote it. He still predicted the Vikings to trade up to 5, and I believe he selected J.J. McCarthy. So you can feel comfortable about reading that. And I believe we're working on for tomorrow bunch of quarterbacks that could start potentially for the Vikings tomorrow. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be included. So, you get to read about that. I'm just going to do a little recap of everything that happened today. We'll have that up pretty much after the first 3 days this week. So that's usually when most of the stuff happens. Then a little bit after that, things kind of die down. So we'll have that up. And we'll just keep covering free agency this week. I don't really know how much money the Vikings have left to spend. But it'll be interesting to see where some of the other guys land. Like, Danielle Hunter, is Dalton Reisner going to come back? Jordan Hicks, is Harrison Smith going to retire? I think those are the things now that become kind of the bigger focus in terms of what's happening with those guys instead of, who are the Vikings going to sign? Because I think they probably spent most of their money on the guys that they signed today. Because Sam Darnold, he's not going to cost not even $5 million. So I think
he might get a little more.
Oh,
but I mean, it's that's got to be
is
a
Mike
1 year
McCartney
deal,
his agent
right?
too?
That's got to be a 1 year deal, right?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not signing him to
No.
Kirk Cousins fully guaranteed deal. Like if it's $10 million, like
it might even be
whatever.
one where they sign him and they can cut him in the summer if they don't like what they see.
Right.
And we got to remember Nick Mullen's he's still under contract for next season. Jaron Hall's still under contract. So quarterback competition this summer.
I'm just making sure we're not missing anything on Twitter right now, but it's all good.
Okay.
Social media, Adam Patrick NFL. That's where people can follow you. You're on Twitter, X, and everything else. You can follow me at the real Chris Schad. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Got a lot of things going on right now, so kind of just posting there. But that is all the time we have for the Viking Age podcast today. We do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. This has been the Viking Age podcast.